and being a leader. So you don't want to ever see your leader vulnerable. You always want to see your leader strong. So we've always had to appear to the world strong. And then behind closed doors, we're vulnerable. Behind closed doors when nobody sees us. Only God sees us, and we can be vulnerable then. But to the eyes of everyone else, we got to be that, you know, and that's what, and that was the practice for so many decades, so many centuries. That was the practice. And so in that practice, there was no time for a detour to say, hey, we need something too. We need an outlet to kind of, you know, bring us together. You know, we have feelings too, but our feelings was always camouflaged by the fact that we are men. And when you say I'm a man, that comes with strength, that comes with dignity, that comes with a sense of pride, if you will.
You can be. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say before I let Rosheay chime in. Me personally, and from what I understand, I'm okay. My mom says I think she thinks it has to do with image. I would say that has a lot to do with it because, like you said, men are supposed to be deemed as strong, but to me personally, I would submit to you guys that that's part of strength. Being able to show when you are, because not everybody has it all together all the time, male or female. So just because you're supposed to be deemed as strong, because a lot of us women, we're supposed to be strong as well now, because apparently, like, there's a lot of us are, we have the strong Black woman role that we don't need. A lot of them are like, we don't need no man type of situation and things like that, where we can handle things on our own. And it's the same kind of concept. It's the same kind of concept as if you're strong, then you're not supposed to be weak, which is the furthest thing from the truth, male or female. So why is it that y'all can, why do you think that society sees
just move on? No, but I can't, man. I can't. And they're like, and I'm like, you got to keep moving. And they keep moving. And they keep moving. And there's no platform for them to cry out and, hugging and carrying on. It's going to be all right. We don't have time for that.
Why not? I understand you don't want, that's not something that you want to put out in the forefront, but don't you think that you should have like a small crew or at least one that you can go to during times like that?
Maybe one. You can, one. Sometimes you might have one. You might have uno. You might have one. And that's a maybe. But to have 5, 6 guys, everybody in there together, they don't fix some food, we hanging out, it just sitting down and just sharing our hearts with each other and crying and tissues all being spread around the room. Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Did you say being spread around?
Tissues.
So movies like
want some Kleenex?
Movies like The Wood and all of that stuff is pretty much like that gives a false sense of reality. In other words,
nah, not anymore. See, now growing up, we had their generation teach us, okay, get up. If you fall, you scrape your knee, all right, cry for a second. Now, come on, we're gonna put this alcohol in there, clean it up. Now go play.
Right.
That's the way it is for dudes. So that's a lot of stuff you gotta unlearn. But what I could say is an opposing view now is I could get 2 of my closest, like longest friendships, 2 of my homies together, and we could sit down and we could talk about it. Nobody breaking down and crying still, but we could talk about the problems. But once you get the problems out there, we solution based, because it's still that default man in you that's like, all right, we talked about it now. Now what we gonna do about it? We're gonna step up. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna do X, Y, Z. Yeah, we gotta go.
Right.
I think it's necessary though.
But
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's our being vulnerable. once we sit down and come to a conclusion and we talk about it and air it out and get it out, that's us being, vulnerable, because we don't even have to do that. Most men don't even have to go even to that level. So for us to sit down and air it out and talk about it and try to make sense of it. Oh, okay. All right. And then now we kind of got it. It's cool. That's our level of being vulnerable to an extent. It's different levels of being vulnerable.
True. I would agree with that. So do y'all say, now when I say being vulnerable, I don't necessarily mean like you're spending days and hours, days and weeks and months, just in one state, because I'm all for it. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, no matter, it's going to be hard. We're going to feel it. So male, female, whatever, we're all going to go through tough things. We're all going to go through tough situations, things that'll take us, a while to kind of get through. However, we're not going to want to stay there. And I think that I like what Parish said, being solution oriented. I think that goes across the board. So my point is, because what I've seen and I've heard like a few guys talk about how it's difficult, especially when it comes to talking to women. And this is another question that I have. Like, do y'all think that it's easier for y'all to talk y'all hardest stuff out, whether it's failures or mistakes or whatever, with your boys or with your lady? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your lady. It could be like any female, like a parent, a mother, or a female friend, or anything like that, or your girl or spouse. Which do y'all think is easier to talk to?
I would say, I would say now, and I'm not downing anybody, but I would say probably to our boys. But this is the reason why. Like, again, as men, we're looked at to be coverers, protectors, providers, even though like now the way the economy is going, like, I don't look down at no man if you don't make a certain amount of money or whatever, because you can have 3 or 4 jobs and it's just not what it used to be. Like, you're not able to go get a factory job and be able to support 6, 7 kids. Like our grandparents or great grandparents were able to do. They could get a job straight out of high school and support a whole family, and being their pension and retirement was set up to where they were straight. That don't exist no more. You got people who got master's degrees, 2 and 3 degrees, that still like living paycheck to paycheck with no kids.
Right.
So when I say provider, I mean emotional provision, providing in the sense of having a vision. And Roberta, you know my brothers, and they're more vocal in terms of talking to my parents about stuff that they deal with or going through than I am. However, when my parents look at who's going to carry the torch, who's going to make sure everything is straight, who's the one who got everything covered, they're looking at me, the one who bottles everything in, keep everything in. Why? Because I look composed. It's that composure. So now you can be talking to your female counterparts, and I just know in my experience, whether it be personal observation or even women that I've talked to, when it comes to their men, when you're overly emotional like that, when you're overly like you don't have a solution. To Parish's point, we are logical, and so okay, yeah, here's a problem, but now how do we solve it? I can't sit in this spot and not solve it. If you sit in this spot, then you're not a leader. You're not capable. You're not somebody that I should trust in and rely on, because now you're focused on the problem and not how to get past it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I think it's easier for us to do that because, again, like let's just say me, Anthony, and Perry, we all sat down and we rapped about our situation. It's going to be a time of listening, and then it's going to be a time of, well, have you tried this? Or what you going to do now? Or what, like, I don't need you to feel sorry for me necessarily. Help me get through it. And if I just need to vent and be like, man, look, nigga, this going on, whatever. And you'd be like, all right, man, I feel you, but you got it, bro. You need to rap, man, holler at me. And that's it. It's not going to be, when y'all look at a man a certain way, once he's down here, and like, again, the age and society we live in now, people like to say that it's not like that, but once you realize that man is not better than you, you lose respect for him. And that's just the way it is. like y'all had, and this is gonna be controversial, but y'all have a natural cheat code. Like, think about this. Most women get their cycles or go through their periods somewhere between the age of 10 to like 14, right? Now, by the time you're 30, and I'm not trying to be funny, but by the time you're 30, most of y'all 20-year vets in that. Y'all been dealing with that 20 years, but you still get an off day from work. You still get people, you know, sympathizing with you or feeling sorry for you or pitying you because you're going through something that you deal with every month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what as a man, what do I have? What do I have that I can do that? Like I don't have it. Like like I know dudes that are diabetic, and all they get is like, did you take your insulin? Here, eat this Snickers bar, but get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Here's a juice box, but get back to work.
Right.
You don't get to, and like you could die. I'm not trying to be funny, but I've never heard of a woman dying because she was having a cramp or you know she